Some camera designs are so iconic that they define a generation. Look, I know you've already seen 100 videos about this camera by now. You know every spec sheet, bullet point, and understand the technology that's in this thing. But I want to talk about the experience of owning and using this little guy for the past 2 months as my primary personal camera for documenting my life. I don't use this camera for my commercial work and never will, so I won't be focusing on that. And as a quick note, I bought this camera with my own money on release day. I've never spoken with anyone at Fuji, even though that would be pretty cool and I would love to do that. But all that to say, you're only going to get my honest thoughts, feelings, and opinions in this video. So let's start at the beginning. Like anyone else, the first few days I had the camera, I spent time diving through all the menus, setting everything up how I like, and testing out the different recording formats, autofocus methods, and things like that. I ended up enjoying the results from the 6.2K F-Log2 files the most, so that's the format everything in this video was shot with in 24 frames per second, even this A-roll shot right here, because why not test that out too? On the photography side, everything was shot in RAW and edited in Lightroom using my brand new first ever preset system that I'm very proud of, but more about that later. I'm not gonna lie to you, this camera came out during the absolute least photogenic time of year here in Eastern Washington. I had a heck of a time trying to line up a free day with even the slightest bit of good light. So this video is sort of a chronological journey of the past 2 months, getting out on the nice days when I could, and all the way through leading into just last weekend, where the most successful outing was because the weather had sort of officially turned for the better. As someone who owned both the X100F and the X100V, I've always loved the physical dials and sort of the tactile experience of shooting with this line of cameras. Nothing much has changed there, and I'm actually very happy about that. The other thing that I love about the body design is just how discreet it is. I don't feel self-conscious or like people are starting to notice me taking photos in the streets. No one's staring at me when I'm out in public carrying this thing around. And to be honest, that's a pretty big deal for me. The image quality is obviously great. The 40 megapixel sensor is a nice thing to have. And after shooting with the X-T5 last year, I was really happy to hear that the same sensor is now in this little compact rangefinder body that I've grown to love, and this time around with IBIS. I severely dislike using tripods. So between that and how much it helps shooting handheld video, the IBIS is a massive plus and was one of the driving factors really of me upgrading from the V. I wish they would have somehow added the vertical shooting tilt screen, like that third way of tilting to the X100VI. That's still my absolute favorite screen design, and that's probably my single largest con of this entire camera for me. I'll follow the biggest con with the biggest pro, which is the built-in ND filter. And I know like it's not new to the X100 line, but now when you pair it with the new IBIS and the 10-bit log video options, it's created this monster of a pocket video camera. And having all this video capability and a built-in ND in a camera that quite literally fits in your pocket is an absolute ridiculous thought, and it's amazing. You're limited on focal length, but for a personal document of your life and using that as like your main use case, I think this is as good as it gets, especially if you're like us and you enjoy hiking or traveling outdoors on foot quite a bit. You don't even notice the weight of, that this camera is adding to your pack at all. The autofocus performance has definitely improved from the previous cameras in this line. If my hit rate of Carl, photos of Carl was like 20% before, it's probably about 60, maybe 70 now. It's not gonna blow you away, but it's pretty solid and it's a big step in the right direction from the previous, like the Mark V, for example. I do think at this point, the autofocus speed and reliability is probably more sort of capped by the internal, tiny compact lens design. And the motor in there rather than being something they can fix via software. And the reason I say that is because like if you take a camera that's equivalent, like the X-T5 with the same sensor, same sort of processor inside, it is significantly faster with a good linear focus motor lens like the 23mm 1.4. That's still much better. But for video, I use manual focus 99% of the time. So I don't have a lot to say about the autofocus there, but when I did need it to track on that rare occasion, it seemed to work pretty well and recognize even the dog as a subject. Before I get into my final thoughts about the camera, if you liked the look of the photos in this video, you can find a link to my all new, very exciting Lightroom preset system in the description. The idea behind this system was to make my digital photos and my film photos be able to mesh together well in my portfolio. There's 8 presets, 4 dynamic range adjustment actions, 3 film grain settings, 3 sharpening settings, a full user manual with installation and workflow instructions, an in-depth reference guide documenting the design and intended use case of each look, and a video walkthrough of how I approach editing using them. I spent a very long time developing them, and I am very excited to finally have them available for purchase on my website. I really appreciate your support, and thank you for supporting me on this channel here on YouTube. Okay, so my final thoughts. The Fuji X100VI is a joy to use. It produces beautiful, high quality images and is practically unnoticeable to carry around with you. Throw in the capability of snagging video clips in this very flexible and high quality format, and in my opinion, it's hard to ask for more out of such a small package. I think the camera is fully worth the asking price if it's a good fit for you and your goals with photography. And I hope you enjoyed seeing some examples of this camera and what it is capable of, and hearing about my experience using this camera since its release. As always, if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.